There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Ooh, what's up? Welcome into episode number 61 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined to you as always by Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Patrick Kurtzberger, no Ryan Tyson this week. Today is Wednesday, March 8th. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Keep on pumping up those subscribers, folks. We're trying to hit 1,500 subs. I don't think we've gotten there yet. Try to help us hit 1,500 subs. We really appreciate it. Costs you $0 to subscribe to the channel. It helps us out more than you know. You can also follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, our Instagram, Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, that you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff. Gentlemen, how we doing? How we living? We're officially in March. Spring feels like it's upon us here in Oklahoma, but it's about to get a little more chilly this week. But it was a super nice weekend here in Oklahoma. How we living?
Doing good. It's going to be the spring game before we know it.
Oh, I know. It's going to be perfect, man. Can't wait.
Yeah, they're going to have a record-breaking attendance, just like I predicted. Just like I predicted.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't do that.
Mark.
I can't be what you need me to be for that joke, Matt Gann.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm living.
Yeah.
Busy time of the year for me.
Yeah.
But at least the Falcons aren't going to trade for Lamar, like I've been wanting. That's cool. A lot of things going my way.
Yeah, a lot of things going your way this week.
No, it's great. Life's awesome. I'm living the dream.
Okay, living the dream.
As
Mark, maybe
everyone-
turn up your
as
mic on
everyone
the
is
backside.
dying.
Turn up your mic on the backside. Maybe
All right.
some
A little
live
bit of gain.
Yeah, a little bit of gain for the people. Yeah.
Am I gaining?
Yeah, you're
Yes.
gaining.
There we
Amazing.
go.
Beautiful.
You are
I think I just
huge, bro.
moved
You're
too
huge.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Let's talk some OU football, boys. How about that? We start with some
Hey, wait,
OU
Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thought he said.
Oh, did he? Oh,
Yeah, I'm
man.
doing really good.
I'm really
Yeah.
killing this show.
Yeah, we're crushing it. We're crushing it right
Yeah,
now. 61
killing it.
episodes in, and you'd think we'd be pros, but we're really not. None of us
Still
are.
don't
We're
know
gonna
how
have
to do
a
an
field
intro.
day in 8 weeks. We got to find something cool.
Man,
Is
I
that going
know.
to be the spring game?
Ooh,
No,
good question. I don't
It's
know.
not, but
Some OU football news, some coaching contracts update courtesy of Eric Bailey of the Tulsa World. Jeff Lebby, $1.9 million. His contract was extended to 2025. Gets a $100,000 raise. I'm going to go through these and we can kind of talk about it. Sound good? So we aren't just breaking down each one because some of them don't need touched on.
can we talk about Levy first? Because
Yes.
Levy specifically was hunted, right? We
Yeah.
all thought, oh, Bama's coming. They're going to write the check. Someone's going to drop a bag. Notre Dame's coming. When it comes down to it, all we did was give him a $100,000 raise, right? Jeff Levy wants to be here. The extension was coming no matter what, but we didn't break the bank for him in the way that you might have thought. Obviously, he's one of the highest paid assistants in the country. Yeah. That shows a commitment to football, but from administration, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's a big one. So sorry to interrupt the game plan.
No, it's all good. Jeff Levy is massive, and OU showed him that how important he is. Todd Bates, $665,000, $225,000 raise from his first season. That jump was written into his original 3-year contract, which was voted to be extended through 2026. So Todd Bates gets the bag again, sort of planned, but he also is extended. I think these coaches know what they have in Todd Bates, just like they know what they have in Jeff Lebby. They're going to try to keep Todd Bates on this staff as long as they can. And then Ted Roof. Ted Roof is the defensive coordinator, $1.15 million. Gets a $50,000 bump this year. And it was written into his original contract. Nothing changes in terms of length. And his contract runs through the 2024 football season. As for a couple other just notes, Bill Beanbo, $820,000, Jay Valai, $700,000, Miguel Chavis, $600,000, Emmett Jones, $550,000, Joe John Finley, $520,000, DeMarco Murray, $500,000, Brandon Hall, $350,000. Anything from the coaches raises jump out to you, Matt?
Yeah, I knew Jeff Levy was definitely going to be up there, especially with his experience, his caliber of offenses that he's had in the past. I didn't think it was that much, $2 million for offensive coordinator. I guess that's just the price to pay for one of the top assistants in the country. So that's, I guess, a good benchmark to know by. Obviously, Ted Roof getting paid what he gets paid for the season he had. Hopefully he can live up to expectations this year. I just see his role diminishing and hopefully BV or somebody else stepping in to call the defensive plays. But if you're going to pay a guy $1 million, he's got to step in and be worth what he is. That's a lot of money to give for the performance that we had last year from him. I'm actually surprised how underpaid Bill Beambo is and some of the other assistants, but there's, I guess, only enough money to go so far around, especially when you got to pay BV. And the only other thing, Jeff Levy into 2025, which means he would have, one season into the SEC. I think we kind of figured that was going to be the case. So it'll be interesting to see how long. Two seasons? Okay. I think that's kind of what we ballparked, that by that point, especially if he keeps up the pace, he would probably get a head coaching opportunity if he decides to do that. So be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm glad we are going to keep these guys at least for a few years into the SEC, because that's obviously what we hired him for.
Patrick, what about you, man?
Ted Roof's contract only going through the end of 2024, and us locking down Todd Bakes for extra years is what stands out the most to me, right? I think it's a natural transition to have Todd take that role over, especially if Ted Roof doesn't have a great year this year.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing. Go ahead, Mark.
Sorry, at the same time, man, Jay Valai also has the co-DC title and is making more than Todd Bates. Yeah. That's what stood out to me. I didn't realize quite the extent to which we probably had to compete financially for Jay Valai. At the time of his hire, it was like, we're getting him from Bama, but they let him go, right? Well, it doesn't look like they let him go, because he's the second highest paid part of the defensive staff. And that's above Todd Bates. My natural instinct would agree with you, Patrick. Todd Bates seems to be more of the spoon that stirs the drink, right? But they're shelling out cash, man. Yeah. It's interesting.
I have a hard time believing that we see Ted Roof in 2025 as a defensive coordinator for OU, no matter how well he does. I just don't see it. I think he's been a stopgap, and he always will be. But that's just my take on it. Bill Beanbo making. Are we sure he's going to
make it to 2024?
No,
we sure this isn't a swan song? I'm not sure.
Could be,
because you can allocate 1.15 in a lot of ways if you're not paying Ted Roof.
Yeah, you definitely can. Bill Beanbo with $820,000, highest paid assistant who's not a coordinator. That doesn't surprise me. He's been here too long to not be the highest paid. You know what I mean? I get where you're coming from, Matt. I guess you see it on paper. It's a big number for an offensive line coach, but he's just been there the longest. Tenure has to mean something, especially loyalty to Oklahoma, because that's what they preach all the time, is just being loyal to the program, and that's what Bill has been for years and years. So I think he'll keep getting raises every year until the end of time if he's still at OU. Anything else on the coaches? Cool beans.
Emmett Jones making more than Finley and DeMarco is interesting, but he was an open market guy, right? We had to go get him versus those guys that are homegrown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think DeMarco catches up there. It's surprising to see DeMarco as our second to last highest paid coach.
I guess DeMarco kind of surprises me. I think if he had more of a play calling aspect to his title, he'd make more money. But the fact that he's just a running back coach, I don't know how involved he is in scheme necessarily. So maybe that has something to do with it. But he can recruit.
I don't know, man. He's the best recruiter on the offensive staff, and every time we need a running back, we've got a running back. Since he took the job, we've had a dude.
Yeah.
You're right, Pat. That's weird.
Yeah. Todd. Thank you. All right. Some crystal balls from Junior Day. Junior Day happened last week. Was it last or this past weekend? I believe. What'd you say, Mark?
This past weekend, I believe.
This past weekend.
I'm still off Twitter, guys, so I don't really know.
Yeah, Mark is down bad with the Twitter right now. But here's some news that we get, some crystal balls from 24/7 Sports. It's for 2024 defensive lineman Williams Nuarni. Oh man, I butchered that name. Nuaneri.
Yeah, but I can't do better.
Nuaneri. Let's go with Nuaneri.
Yep.
He's 6'5", 250, Lee Summit North High School out of Lee Summit, Missouri. Parker Thune and an unnamed Tennessee reporter with that crystal ball. Again, Missouri ties, man. Missouri ties. That's the MO for this staff right now. They're able to get
It really is.
they're able to get really good players from Missouri right now.
Yeah. I mean, we went in there and stole Caden Green and PJ Adebore from right underneath Missouri and everyone else in the Midwest. This is another 5-star defensive lineman looking at Oklahoma like he really likes us. I think it's a sign of our ascendancy as we enter the Big 12 as we exit the Big 12.
Yeah.
Good catch there, Mark. Yeah, this guy is number one player in Missouri, number one D lineman in the nation, and depending on which composite that you look at, he could be 3 or number 9 player nationally in his class. Would be a huge get for Todd and Miguel Chavis if they're able to land this guy. And again, we just keep continuing to add to that defensive line. This would be an absolute huge win for the 2024 class.
Some other junior crystal balls I want to mention is the 2024 running back Xavier Robinson, 6'2", 225 from Carl Albert High School. Me and Pat were talking off air about how he looks like a linebacker. What, Mark?
6'2", 225, and he's
that's what we're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you, dude?
I'm here flabbergasted asking.
Yeah.
I was like here flabbergasting before the podcast, asking Mason and Matt, like, is this normal? Like,
Yeah.
is he okay?
Well, because he's also listed as an inside linebacker. So Pat was like, how is this possible? And like, fair, I get it, because sometimes you hear high school running backs being safeties or corners if they play both sides of the ball. Nah, 6'2", 225. He's probably going to be playing linebacker.
Yeah. Get your ass closer to the ball, boy.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And then another 2024 wide receiver, Bryant Wesco, 6'2", 180 from Midlothian, Texas. Brandon Drum with that crystal ball as well. So that's the juniors.
You missed. Oh, no, you didn't.
So I was doing the juniors. Yeah, I was doing the juniors. So as for the sophomores, there were some sophomores in town as well. So they're going to be juniors next year. That would be 2025 cornerback Malik Hawkins. He's 6'1", 175 from Frisco Emerson High School. That's in McKinney. Then you got a 2025 defensive back Malik Hawkins. That's the same one. Why do we have that on there twice?
So let me jump in here real quick.
Go ahead.
A fun fact about this specific guy, his dad, Mike Hawkins, was a former University of Oklahoma cornerback himself, played in the NFL from 2005 to 2009, and he's also brothers with his quarterback who plays on the same team, Michael Hawkins, who's also a 2024 quarterback prospect that OU is also targeting. So there's 2 guys from that team. They just happen to be brothers that OU is shooting for. Again, both 4-star recruits at this time. Both will be definitely good gets to get for the 2025 class. But just fun fact that, their dad played for OU as well.
Well, and if we haven't, I mean, this is the episode, right? If we haven't given context on it, Michael Hawkins is kind of like our target for the 2024 class at quarterback. There was a moment where it was DJ Lagway, who has since committed to Florida, but Mike Hawkins is really who we have sort of zeroed in on. And so I don't think they just happen to be brothers. I think that it's absolutely a recruiting thing to go ahead and throw that offer to Malik, similar to what we did with Peyton Bowen's brother, right? We threw him an offer before A&M did, before Notre Dame did, and certainly before Oregon did, right? I think they are playing the game and they're making sure that we can keep Michael Hawkins in the fold and away from TCU, who just hired Kendall Briles, who he was close with when he was getting recruited by Arkansas. So there's tendrils in all of this crap, man.
Patrick?
But
No, it might be an awkward Thanksgiving for Levy. What was I going to say? No, I think I'm good here too. I'm good here too.
Okay.
Nothing big.
So yeah, let us know down below in the comments. Any of these
That was
recruits,
great, Patrick.
any of these recruits stick out to you? Let us know down below in the comments. Read every single one of your comments. Love it when you guys get in on the
we
action.
don't yet have a 2024 commit.
We don't.
That's something that we haven't talked about.
Right.
Yeah, we don't. I don't really know how to feel about it because I don't know how to gauge. I can't off the top of my head. I don't know how many this time last year we had like committed. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean more than this, but only because we had carryovers, right? We had some guys that like never decommitted.
Yeah,
I think this is more of a BV thing. Like this is fine.
you're right, Pat. It
So
definitely could be. It definitely could be the BV mantra of you shouldn't commit until you're 100%, and he could be pressing it on these juniors in high school right now, saying, "Look, you got a whole summer of summer camps, and you got all this stuff. You don't need to commit right now." Maybe that's what it is.
I bet
Yeah.
that is. I just think that it's interesting that there's no one yet.
And I think that's fair. Yeah.
And I think last summer shows us, hey, have patience.
Mm.
He knows what he's doing when he's talking to these kids.
Yeah.
These crystal balls are not accidents.
Yeah. I think by what was it? It was like the middle of July last year where it all went down and we're all like, oh,
Party
yeah.
at the Palace.
Yeah. And we're like, okay,
Party
yeah.
Yep.
Everything's fine. Everything's
We're good. We're
Yeah.
good.
everything's good.
At least till we start playing.
Yeah. And then it was bad.
And
Let's
then even then our record doesn't matter. I mean, we're just really good at recruiting.
we are.
Well, yeah, right. And then we throw up a 6 and 7, and truly, like you said, Pat, it doesn't matter. Like, sure, we would have been better at recruiting this year, but would we have broken like Georgia, Alabama? Probably not. So, like the vision they're selling, and you can tell from quotes and stuff, doesn't include this past season. It's forward looking.
Yeah, my only concern would be if we don't improve year to year. So if we go another 6 and 7 or whatever it might be, if there's not gradual improvement every single year, you're definitely going to see the prospects fall off because the vision can only last so long until you get proven results. So
Yeah.
the next few years will definitely be crucial to BV and his recruitment.
I think that's fair. And
I think that's
not
a
a
great
bad point.
Well, when we looked at the schedule, I said like 4 games that I think are losable, right? And I think we do lose like 2. That jumps to 7. Yeah, it's worse than last year.
Then yeah, it got
It's
bad.
worse than last year.
Then yeah, it got bad. Let's talk about some of the guys who were on the team of that 6 and 7 team last year. They're at the NFL Combine.
Segue.
And let's start with Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims maybe helped himself. He ran a 4.38 40. Only 3 wide receivers ran faster than Marvin Mims at the Combine. That's pretty impressive for him. He measured out at 5'11", 180. I guess
3. I'm saying 183. Did you get 180?
I'm on Sooners Wire on USA Today.
I'm on NFL.com.
Okay, then I'd trust NFL.com then. So
It
you
doesn't
got
matter. I mean,
Yeah.
3 pounds is an accident, but
yeah, but yeah, he his 10-yard split was 155. What was his vertical? 39 and a half. Fifth
That's
best
better
vertical
than-
jump.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
5th best at the position. So I think Marvin helped himself out a ton. I think he, and I think we all kind of thought that. I think we all said Marvin had to show out at the Combine and had to perform well, and he did. He did exactly what he had to do. So I think Marvin deserves a lot of credit. A lot of credit.
He did better than I personally kind of expected, honestly. The 4.38, I was expecting something closer to like 4.45. And that doesn't sound like it's a lot, but that's a lot in the 40-yard dash. And he really showed out. I'm very stoked for Marvin. I think he helped his draft stock a lot. Didn't bench, but like, what are you going to get out of his bench, right?
Nothing.
Can he even throw up 225?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Anyone else on Marvin?
Matt?
I mean, really, really happy
What
for
do
him.
y'all think?
I thought his 40 would be a little bit slower, but he proved me wrong. I think he definitely upgraded his draft stock. It'll be interesting just to see what team ends up landing him or taking a chance. Obviously, they've seen the tape. Measurements are one thing, but seeing the tape is another. Obviously, he didn't have the best year last year. Not a lot of Sooners did, unfortunately. But I think not just Mims, but a lot of guys in this combine over the past week really, really upgraded what their draft position could possibly be and maybe where teams are looking to take them.
Pat, anything?
Covered it.
Anton Harrison had a good day as well. 4.9840 is it was the second fastest time of the entire offensive line group. 0.01 behind Georgia's Broderick Jones. Wanye Morris had a 5.1 40 time, but we need to talk about Wanye because Wanye got injured on his 40-yard dash, but he said he's going to be good to go for the pro day on March 30th. OU's pro day. That's what Wanye said. So I
don't know how he can possibly make that claim.
I don't know either. It didn't look good. It just didn't.
You're not going to
good.
get back to training health, right? You might get back to like you're not going to get back to the peak by the pro day.
No,
but
I have to ask this. You got two of the guys played football, Mason and Mark. Why does it matter how fast an offensive lineman can run a 40? Why is that even a measurable? I truly don't get it. Maybe you guys can give me some insight.
It kind of matters how quickly you can get downfield to block on a run play. So especially for guards, I think it matters more for guards than tackles. I feel like, and Mark may have a different philosophy on this, but for guards who pull a lot, I think your 40 time matters.
Well, and what I was going to say is the bigger thing to me is your 10-yard split and how quickly you're able to burst, right? So you're not necessarily looking at, okay, yeah, you're right. An offensive line is not going to run 40 unimpeded yards ever. That's not what you're searching for here. But that 10 yards and Anton in that 10 yards. Meanwhile, where was Marvin? I deleted Marvin. That's okay. But that's a very fast number, right? That shows you, hey, get off the line and burst. Get off the line and get to the second level. That's sort of what you're looking for.
Yeah, and that's what I figured, more of those short distances and obviously bringing the power and the strength, right, to move guys off. That's what I would figure. I just never understood the 40-yard dash itself when, offensive linemen would never do that.
Well, and there's no reason for a lot of this stuff. I've heard from podcasts and shit, not heard from, I don't know anyone. But like analysts and stuff, draft people who say it's more about the medicals and it's more about getting everyone in one place to interview them. And then this is nice confirmation stuff. But if you're moving guys based on a 40 time, then you haven't scouted well enough.
Yeah. Other guys, Eric Gray was there. He didn't run, I don't think. Did he run?
No, he didn't run.
Yeah, he didn't run.
Did a vert, did a broad jump, didn't run, didn't bench.
Braden Willis didn't. Braden Willis didn't run. He did a vertical, 32-inch vertical, 9.9 broad jump. Marvin Mims had a 10.9 broad jump, by the way. That's pretty good for Marvin. So,
Braden Willis did a 20-yard shuttle, but didn't run a 40-yard dash.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
He benched 20 reps, but didn't run a 40-yard. I wonder if he's going to do the opposite at the pro day and just train for the next month to run real fast.
Could be. Definitely could be for sure. Anybody else on the NFL Combine for Dem Sooners?
Yeah, we haven't talked about one guy who I thought probably had the best pro day.
Best day.
Yeah, definitely Michael Turk. He's going to get drafted. He's going to play in the NFL for a long time. That guy has a cannon front leg. I mean, he dominated the punters. But the other guy that really stood out to me was Jalen Redmond. I thought he had a really good pro day with all his measurables. And this is one of the guys from NFL.com had a quote about him. Redmond stood out among the remaining participants who completed every facet of the workout, appearing controlled, smooth, and explosive throughout the full range of drills, no matter the setup. He produced quality reps. Some guys just have the look of productive pros in these workouts, and Redmond was the best trio of defensive tackles who fit that mold. So I thought he really, if anybody other than Mims, really upgraded his draft stock. And we knew a lot about him. Again, the scheme, the difference in this year probably didn't allow him to be the player he was. But I think NFL scouts are now seeing the true potential of maybe what Redmond can produce. So really happy for him that he had a good pro day or a good.
Yeah, and running through his results, he ran a 4.8 140 with a 1.71 split, 10-yard split, 34.5-inch vert, 9-foot 8-inch broad jump, 7.3-second 3-cone, and a 4.51 20-yard shuttle with a 27 reps on the bench press. I mean, that's Jalen did everything he could do, right? Because he's shown a lot of flash without a lot of consistency on the field. But a coach is going to see that and think, I can mold it. So, similar to like Neville Gallimore a few years ago for the Cowboys, maybe we see him sneak up earlier than we might have expected earlier.
Yep. Could be. All right, Matt, let's circle those wagons, brother. Got some big news on the facilities front. Get out there and give it to me.
Yeah, that's right. So we've already talked about it. Our facilities at OU are nothing in comparison to what the current SEC, right? When we came out with that poll, I don't know if it was a pod or two ago, wherever it was, we ranked 14th or 15th nationally, but we were 10 behind 10 SEC schools, right? So that just shows you how behind we are about to enter the SEC and just the facilities that all those schools have. So very big news coming.
That.
We might have planted it, yeah.
We might have planted. No, I think we planted the thing about us being 10th. We made that news so that we could go give the set. Never mind, it didn't work. All right, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I will let you take over the Wagan segment. Here you go, Mark. Nah, I'm just kidding. So $175 million for football operation facilities. So that includes changes to Galo Memorial Stadium no changes being made, right? So they're not adding any more seating capacity. Is that what I'm hearing from what the 175? I don't know what else they can possibly do. Why wouldn't you add more at that point? So I get upgrading the gyms and the medical and all that as well, but not adding more seats seems like a weird proposal. What do you guys think? Especially when SEC caliber schools have 100,000 plus seating. So I'm pretty confused. What do you guys think about that?
I just don't really know the logistics of how you add the seating. So like the east side stands are already super tall. You have the suites that are over on the south end that you can't really add anything to. The north end, I guess you could try to add an upper deck. What's the logistics of that? I don't really know. I mean, would that require you to completely demo the north end and rebuild it completely? That's kind of what it sounds like, because that's what they had to do to the south end. And on the west side, you have all those suites and you have the press box to deal with. So if you do anything on the west side, then you got to get a new press box too. So it's just, I don't know.
Well, and the press boxes have to be upgraded. They are so old and outdated. I know, Mason, you probably speak on that a little bit more, but they are.
I mean, yeah, they're tight and they're crammed and they're built in the 70s when people were tiny, and they just don't work anymore. They just don't. They need to be upgraded, but respectfully, the media isn't really OU's problem. You know what I mean? They don't really care. That's the last thing that they want to worry about.
Yeah, that's good points. It'll be interesting to see if at any point they try to add some kind of seating capacity to Gaylord. I know the logistics probably are going to be very tough to do that, like you mentioned, with all parts of the stadium. But it's OU. They have the money. I'm sure they can figure it out at some point. So $175 million just to football themselves, $75 million for a student athlete success center, 9.5 to Lloyd Noble. Looks like for particularly the locker rooms. 45 million for baseball, 48 million for softball, 14 for gymnastics, which I know gymnastics definitely need an upgrade. They need another facility themselves, because I know the Castle Fieldhouse should not be housing all those different sports in there as well. 9 million towards golf, 8 towards tennis, and 5 million for track. So looking at these numbers, obviously huge amounts of monies and donations coming in. Anything stand out to you guys that surprises you on this list?
I want to mention one thing really quick, and I saw this tweet courtesy of Matt Baker of the Tampa Bay Times. He said OU's football operations facility would cost twice as much as what the Florida Gators just spent on the Heavener Football Training Center that opened in the fall. You want to talk about an arms race? That's massive. You're paying double the price for a facility that Florida just built. That's called flexing some muscles right there. Also, $5 million for track improvements. They're going to build them a new track because where they're at now is not going to stay there. That's all going to be football operations. There's zero shot that the track stays where it is. Just no way. Just east of Jenkins, right? That's where it is. It's not going to stay there.
For a long time, we've heard that there might be problems with the track program about moving things like that. And to that, I say, have you met Thad Turnipseed? Because those problems do not exist anymore.
No.
All of this is going according to Mr. Turnipseed's plan. And the one thing of that list, I mean, look, football operations facilities, hell yeah. That's $175 million to say, hey, go have fun. Build a perfect athlete center. That's what you do with that money. And it's state of the art. That's awesome. That's what you want, right? $75 million student athlete success center. That's crazy. I don't know what that might be. But the big thing to me, the nitpick I have, and I think Mason, at least you have the same kind of nitpick, is why are we dropping almost $24 million on basketball renovations for Lloyd Noble and a gymnastics center improvement when we could be putting a whole new plan together for a new location that could house both of those things somewhere in Norman? Like I don't understand. And there's a report out today that they're looking at the feasibility of a new basketball arena. That should have happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're looking at the feasibility? So we're going to sink $9.5 million into Lloyd Noble because you haven't looked at how feasible this is yet? Get the hell out of here, man. That's the one thing is we can have a super center for all these other indoor men's sports, right? And we don't have that. And they're not looking at that yet.
I don't know what that $9.5 million is going to do to Lloyd Noble to make people okay with Lloyd Noble. There's nothing that you can do to that arena to make it okay anymore. It's a dinosaur. It just needs to go. Patrick?
I agree. The Lloyd Noble one is the weirdest to me. Don't put money into that if you're looking at tearing it down completely. Yeah. The only thing that comes to mind is like maybe Porter Moser has asked for some specific things and is like, hey, if I had like these one or two things, I do think I could pull some better recruits. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not the case, but it's just a weird one.
Yeah. Well, again, a lot of money going into, I mean, we're talking almost $50 million each for baseball and softball improvements. I think Patty Gasso obviously deserves it. What she's doing with that program, this should have been done a long time ago. Honestly, a lot of these things should have happened a way long ago. Our facilities are very outdated compared to the top universities. So it's good to see that the Board of Regents are finally making maneuvers now. I wouldn't say it's a little too late. Obviously, we have a couple of years, but a lot of these are going to take a lot of time to build. It's a lot of money that's going to go into it. So good that they're pouring money into the program. Does seem a little odd, the different amounts and what they're looking for. I know they had talked about building some type of an event center off 24th near Target and those hotels to be like an event center / the new basketball arena to replace Lloyd Noble. I hadn't heard any updates on that. I'm not sure if that's something that got passed or not, but it seems like for now they're going to continue the way it is with Lloyd Noble, and does not make any sense for a lot of these programs that deserve more updated facilities. So we'll just have to see what happens in the future.
Some of that is like, this isn't public money, right? Like the OU Board of Regents would have approved more if they had it earlier. I think a lot of this is spurred on by the SEC move and the ability to get guys like freaking Thad Turnipseed in a room with some big heavy donors and finagle some more cash than we used to be able to. Lincoln Riley left because he didn't think there was this kind of commitment to Oklahoma football financially. And what we're seeing now is there's actually more than there's ever been. because we are gearing up for this next level. And that's why you see 175 to football. They're limited by who gives what and where with regard to some of the other facilities that we see.
Yeah.
It's a very good point. Well, let's jump into the sports that are actually playing here today. Let's start with OU women's basketball. Guys, they won their first Big 12 regular season since 2009. Years in the making. This team just continues to impress. And honestly, when I heard that, I can't believe it had been that long since we have won a Big 12 title, but it has. And Jenny and what she's doing with this program is truly incredible. To win the title, they did have to beat Kansas State, who they beat in overtime, 90-86. And then they went down to OSU, or went up to Stillwater, I should say, on their senior night and beat the Lady Cowgirls 80-71. Now, Mason, did you have some insight? I know there were some things going on, some basketball drama. So did you have some insight on kind of what was happening, or Patrick as well, chime in, what was exactly happening?
So here's the way I understood it. OU won the game and were celebrating their Big 12 title. For whatever reason, OSU decided to wait and do their senior night ceremony until after the game, which goes against every senior night thing you've ever seen ever. And then OSU gets mad that OU wants to celebrate something they haven't done in a long time on OSU's floor. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get. And Jenny Baranchik in her post-game press conference was like the same way. She's like, I don't really know what you want us to do. Like, these girls are celebrating an accomplishment, something that this university hasn't done in, like you said, Matt, 10 years or whatever it's been. I'm sorry that you wanted to honor your seniors, and while you should, but do it when everyone else does it pregame, so stuff like this doesn't happen. I don't know what went through the OSU coaches and athletic department's mind to make this like OU's problem. Now it's stupid. It's dumb.
Show me precedent for a team winning any kind of championship and then respectfully walking off the field of play so that the other team can have its moment. Sorry, that's not how this works. This is competition. The winner is going to celebrate, especially an accomplishment like this. This is what you've played all season for. The fact that it happened on your rinky-dink stadium in Stillwater does not change the fact that we owned this thing. We took care of business on your floor, and we're going to have a good time of it. It's not our fault you can't manage scheduling for your seniors before the game and not after it. Great point on that, Mason. That is the dumbest shit in the world to me.
Just crazy.
To wait till after the game. What if you lose? You cannot just plan as if you're gonna win.
I have zero idea.
Ridiculous. You think those players wanted that to be after the game? Oh, just sucks it sucks for the ladies, right? They didn't do it, but that's crazy. That should not have been scheduled that way.
Jenny Baranchik was quoted as saying, "We were trying to be as classy as we can. There was no disrespect in any of that. We're just excited." Yeah, no crap. Jenny, celebrate the way you want to celebrate. That's just so dumb. All right, Matt, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it just seems very odd to me. I agree with all you guys. Why not do it before, just like everyone else, honor your seniors so that win or lose, it's already taken care of, right? So very odd drama, but good way to end the season, beating your in-state rivals. And then after that happens, we got a league high 5 players with 12 or Big 12 honors. So leading the way was Maddie Williams with an all Big 12 first team. She's absolutely been playing lights out, and this team has got a lot left in the tank as they continue on to the Big 12 tourney. They will be the number 2 seed, and they will play the winner of Kansas State or Iowa State, and that'll be coming up this weekend. Moving on to OU softball, they improved to 17-1. They have really found their hot streak of batting and pitching. It has been an incredible run since that loss to Baylor. They played 2 games against the same teams in a weekend, so they beat UIC 5-0 the first game, and the second one beating them 9-0. Then they played ranked Kentucky, who was 16. The first game, they absolutely blanked them 18-0 in 5 innings. They had a grand slam in that one by Kenzie Hansen and Alex Starkenko. I'm going to butcher her name wrong, but she's a transfer pitcher in from Michigan, threw a no-hitter in that game. So this team is deep in the pitching rotation with Nicole May, Jordy Ball, and Alex. They have been absolutely lights out, and they beat Kentucky again 7-1. So OU, very little slow, sluggish start to the year. I think we anticipated that, especially coming off the high of the national championship last year. But they have really found their groove, and they will continue to look at that, competing in the Bulldog Invitational against Southeastern Louisiana. They'll play Mississippi State twice and then Omaha to finish up the weekend. And just an incredible stat right now, Nicole May has a current ERA of 0.00. She has not given up a single run.
She's really like that.
Not one
crazy.
single
Not
run.
many softball players are him, but she's him. She's him. You know, she's around him. I don't.
So we'll see how long that continues, but obviously an incredible stat line to have, especially with how many games, obviously playing 18 games and how many she has pitched in so far. So good luck as they continue their dominant season. OU's women's gym had the second largest crowd at Lloyd Noble this past weekend, playing number 2 Florida, who they beat 197.95 to 197.7. So pretty razor thin margins that they won by.
Girls.
That's really that's gymnastics for you. As one girl messes up, can really throw up the whole competition. But they went against another top-ranked opponent. You guys just kill me. I can't handle it. Then they went up to Ann Arbor to play Michigan, who took over the number 2 spot after Florida lost. Michigan gave us our first defeat of the year, beating us 198.025 to 197.925.
Girls.
Girls will stretch you.
Just again, but just the fact that we had to play back-to-back competition, and it's just razor-thin margins. I mean, those are high scores to be attaining on a week-in and week-out basis. So women's gym, very hard competition that they continue to play. They'll look to bounce back against Arizona State this weekend, so hopefully they can get back into the win column. OU's women's tennis improved to 9-5. They beat Wichita State, blanked them 7-0, and they will have their own red rivalry shootout this weekend against Texas. Now, moving on to the men's side, OU's men's gym continues their dominance as they improve. They are stretchy boys, and stretching all the way to 12-1 on their 4-game winning streak. They recently beat Michigan 414 to 410, and they will continue against some other Big Ten opponents in Ohio State and Penn State upcoming this weekend. OU's men's baseball finally getting above 500 after their very sluggish start. They improved to 6-5. They were recently in Frisco, Texas, where they beat California 9-5. Beat Mississippi State 15-9, and then losing a close one in the 8th and 9th inning to Ohio State 12-9. So they'll have a 2-game series against UNLV and then a 3-game series against Houston. So definitely some slow starts for the men's side of things so far. OU's men's basketball gaining a surprising win against TCU 74-60. Before that, they did lose to Kansas State 85-69. So they did come in dead last in the Big 12s. They will play as the number 10 seed against OSU in the Big 12 tournament. I believe that game is actually today when the podcasts come out. So we'll see if they can maybe make a round or two. But at this point, not even sure if they'll make the NIT this year. So
just ended.
We shall.
Just ended.
Yeah.
It
might be time for the off season for OU's men's basketball. Last but not least, OU's men's tennis.
Thank God we've got $9.5 million to go towards getting them recruits in the door, though.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Sorry, Matt. Yeah.
No, you're good. Just OU's men's tennis beating Arizona State, losing to Arizona, and they will play Pepperdine and San Diego coming up. So that is the full list. It seems like the women's side are doing a whole lot better as they just continue with softball, gymnastics, and basketball. But be lookout for the OU women's basketball team as they ride their Big 12 tournament and get into the big dance this upcoming later in March. It's going to be an exciting team to watch and see where they get seated, but that is the Waganns.
Amazing. Thank you, Matt Gann. Let's wrap the show up this week with some PGP MVPs of the week. Mark, we'll start with you, man.
Oh, that's a tough one. You shouldn't have started with me, but here I am. I'm going to go for it. My PGP MVP of the week is my future father-in-law, David. He and Mildred, my future mother-in-law, came to town on the drop of a dime because we had an issue with our air conditioning unit and I'm incapable. And so he got here and fixed it right up and no problems whatsoever. And I got to say, that's a more meaningful MVP than all the bullshit I usually bring into this arena.
Real.
Like, truly, AC is way better than all this stuff. So,
yeah,
my guy, David. MVP.
Shout out to David. What a hero. Love that.
Yeah.
All right, Patrick.
Give me program guy Mark for doing our taxes for the Program Guys Production LLC. Mark, really appreciate it. For those of you who do not know, we do have an LLC because people sponsor us. And if you want to sponsor us, go ahead and send us an email.
That's right. Send us an email.
Emails in the YouTube profile.
Yeah. theprogramguys@gmail.com. You can find us right there.
If you're somehow here at this point in the pod,
yeah.
Sponsor
You are.
Sponsor us.
Yeah.
Or maybe, Mark, if you want a side hustle, you do taxes.
No, I'm so done with that. I'm so done
Just
with
kidding.
it.
Megan.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the NFL. I'm going to go Geno Smith, the journeyman, the backup, finally getting paid for a tremendous season. He had the Seahawks re-signs for 3 years, $105 million. Maybe underpaid compared to what Derek Carr and Daniel Jones are getting, but Geno Smith, my MVP for patience and getting that bag.
They wrote him off, but he didn't write back, man. One of the coldest lines ever. One of the coldest lines ever, man.
Off the dome.
All right. My MVP of the week, Tom Brady. It was reported by Dove Kleiman. I don't really know. He said Tom Brady might not be done after all with playing in the NFL, according to Rich Eisen, who talked to people in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine. Quote, folks are saying, keep an eye on Miami. That was quote tweeted by Tom Brady. It said, anyone who thinks I have time to come back to the NFL has never adopted a 2-month-old kitten for their daughter. I think Tom just told us he ain't coming back to the NFL. Appreciate Tom being a little fun with that and squashing the rumors for my sanity's sake this NFL offseason. Go ahead, Mark.
Did you see the Phillip Rivers one too?
Yeah,
I did.
He has reached out to the Dolphins and the 49ers.
Yeah, he reached out to him like in December.
End of last year.
Yeah, the end of last year.
He's never worked with those coaches before.
No.
So strange.
Yeah, it was weird. Don't know. But yeah, I'm glad that I don't have to deal with that. Also rumored that, or I think it was confirmed or rumored that the Dolphins are out on the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes, which makes sense. They don't have a first round draft pick.
They were never in.
Yeah. So
What
like,
yeah.
I mean, what's it matter? But yeah.
Yo, while we're here though, what do y'all think
not?
about all those teams immediately saying they're out on Lamar? Because there's talk of collusion there.
I know.
And
I've
really
seen that
think
as well.
I don't really see it as collusion as much as like, nah, you sat out half the season with an injury, of sorts, and you're asking for more guaranteed money than ever. We've just seen you'll sit when you aren't having your way. Why would we sign up for that and losing 2 picks?
Yeah,
I mean, y'all know I was pretty in on it. I'm still pretty in on it if the Falcons go down that road, but like,
sure.
It was very interesting to me the way the market kind of publicly turned against it today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for players having power. Like power to the players, I get it. They're going up against owners and hundreds of millions of dollars and all of that stuff. but at some point a contract has to mean something, right? So like you didn't fulfill yours last year. Like you said, Mark, you had an injury, but by all indications, a lot of the players on Lamar's team were pissed at him for not playing. So you're not in a great situation on the team you're currently in. Why would I want to pay you a buttload of money, give up 2 draft picks for you to maybe not want to feel like playing in 10 weeks into the season when I make you mad? Like, I don't know.
In 3 years, when someone else resets that market,
Yeah.
are you going to do this shit again?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You guys know I'm a huge Lamar guy. Big
I
Lamar
love
guy.
him. I think his talent's amazing.
He's
I think he's so
incredible.
good. I think
He's a
so
Falcon
good.
next year. He's the MVP.
There you
But
go. Yeah, I like it.
I mean it.
I love it.
I think with the quarterbacks getting the deals they're currently getting, and he's not getting it from the Ravens, more power to him.
Sure.
He's asking for $240 million guaranteed. He wants
I'm sure there's a
Deshaun-
compromise.
He wants the
he wants the
Watson deal.
Deshaun fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
And the whole league is like, no one wants to give that deal. Cleveland is stupid.
Well,
That makes
in
sense,
respect, all due respect to Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray's second most guaranteed money in the league, and he hasn't been very great either. So all of those teams looking at those highly guaranteed contracts, and sorry, Matt, Aaron Rodgers was up there as well. Highly guaranteed contract hasn't really paid off.
Matt's a
So-
Jordan Love guy.
That's right. He's
No,
always
I'll say on Lamar Jackson, you guys mentioned all really good points. The other one is you have to change your complete offensive scheme, right? You have to have the right
Falcons don't.
players, the offensive line, the running backs. I mean, there's a reason why the Ravens have done so much with their team offensively because they have to scheme it exactly for Lamar Jackson. That takes a lot of money and a lot of cap space. And a lot of these teams don't have it. If I was a GM, I wouldn't want to do that. I don't know.
I get it.
The Ravens and Falcons together ran more pistol than the rest of the league combined last year. The
I'm
Falcons
glad you're
are ready-made
justifying
for
the
it.
Falcons taking. You should definitely talk to
No,
GM
I mean
Arthur
that-
Blank about it.
I'm just saying, like, there are pros and look, it's not often that you can go into the market and get a 26-year-old former MVP
Yeah.
that it might be the most dynamic athlete on the field every time he steps onto it, right? Like those are just words that describe Lamar Jackson, right? And if you build an offense that has pass catchers like the Falcons do, 6'4" Drake London, 6'6" Kyle Pitts, maybe you make it a little easier on the passing side of things. MVP.
I just
Right
love how
there
you're
with you.
justifying it. Good luck
I love
with with all the cap space, buddy. All right, there we go. That is the show. Mason, wrap us up, big boy.
Okay. Thanks so much, Matt. And thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Program Guys podcast. Remember to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, our Instagram, Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, that's where you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff. We should be back. We'll be back next week. Hopefully all 5 of us will be back next week. Have Ryan give us a great must watch, probably wrap up The Last of Us. It'll be great. We'll see you all next week. Until then, see you. Pat, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.